I have here a very intriguing flute. It comes from the Meiji Restoration. So the Meiji Era, which was from 1868 to 1912, was the time when Japan reinvented itself and joined the modern world. And it did it quite effectively, as we all know now. So here's what it looks like. This is a regular shakuhachi in the 2.0 length. Okay, this is a common length for meditation practices. In fact, it's not a chamber instrument at all. Now the bindings here give away right away the fact that it's from another time. It's not done this way. This isn't very effective. And modern bindings, you'll see, can be thinner, stronger, and help your flute from cracking much better. So the way this was built is very interesting. It's got the nodes nicely spaced, and the nodes grow through. In the bamboo tree, the nodes grow all the way through, and you've got to hollow this out with a rod and then file away at it. The more you file, the more playable it becomes. But let's say you're not looking for playability, you're not looking for musicality and evenness of tone. You're looking for something else. You're looking for a faraway, melancholic quality. It's called wabi-sabi. It's a feeling of emptiness, but not sadness emptiness, emptiness in terms of the void, the origin of all things that come and go into nothingness. And the emptiness is also expressed in the lungs, the air in the room, the sound between you and I, but it's an emotion as well. So getting back to the flute, it's gotten a little bit of a golden burnish since I've owned this flute for several years. In general, it was just dark all over and very neglected. And when you play flutes, they start to come alive, especially old flutes. They need to be saved. And this flute, besides cracking maybe 100 years ago or more, has cracked in modern times. So I bought it from somebody who bought it, repaired it, and then decided it's not for them. And certainly antique flutes are not for everybody. You really have to have a shakuhachi that will be playable, that you can play with groups, and be the normal 1.8 length, which is 1.8 shakus. So a shaku is here. So I'm going to play this, and I'm going to give you a feeling of what shakuhachi sounded like back in the 1860s and 70s. And if it looked like I was struggling, it's true, I was struggling. Because when you play this flute, first of all, it's tuned to make the re strong, the top hand only closed. But the ro, where nowadays people want the flute to be loud when you close all the holes, that's not tuned for, meaning that it comes out softer. But it comes out more beautiful. So it is a matter of taste. Now this flute has urushi on the inside, the black lacquer running all the way through it, but of course it's not a smooth tube all the way through. It's rough on the inside. It doesn't have plaster, it doesn't have a lot of the effects and techniques you have at your disposal to make a flute a modern playable instrument where you can play all kinds of folk tunes and chamber pieces. This is a flute that really asks you to reach inside yourself and unlock its mysteries. And every flute has mysteries, and it's up to the player to really learn how that flute should be played. So this is why a lot of players have flutes from modern times, old times, high-end flutes and low-end flutes. It teaches you to respect and listen for what that instrument is trying to tell you, or what the maker of that instrument had in mind. And it gets very interesting if you go back farther in history. When I play a scale on this, listen to the intonation and the pitch. sound, and the notes aren't evenly spaced. But I can compensate. I can try to play it more like a musician would play it, less like a monk. But that sounds forced, so not a good idea. So you play this flute softly, and you can play it softly for yourself in your own blowing meditation. Your sitting meditation is your zazen, and your blowing meditation is your suizen. And so this is a flute designed for monks and anybody who really wants to be into the natural sound of their breath. So the breath has always been considered the key to spirituality and health in the East. And so the shakuhachi is considered a spiritual tool. And so it does promote a certain humility, and certainly playing a difficult instrument like the shakuhachi promotes humility. And also playing a hard to play shakuhachi really promotes humility. And so, in fact, if you look at the komuso drawings and later the photographs, they were the monks that went into the town raising money for the temples, begging, and they had baskets over their head. And that was a symbol of the suppression of the ego. You are not an entity, you are part of something much larger. And so there's an interesting thing about wearing a basket on your head, and people can't tell who you are, what you look like. It's that, musicians become captivated by how great they're doing. Sometimes they lose something of the quality of their tone. They lose humility, they lose a certain freshness. And certainly a musician who's full of himself or herself, sometimes it gets bored and gets boring for us. So shakuhachi is a good life experience, I have to say. So I'm going to play a little bit more on this 2.0 Meiji Era Shakuhachi, meditation shakuhachi for you. And maybe you can get a little bit of the feel for what happens when you play it if you don't force it and you just be in the moment and see where the tones take you. I mean, you may start with traditional Zen pieces, Hankyoku pieces, but you may end up going on a different path. And so here's the 2.0 Meiji Shakuhachi.